Tonight, a plea is being made for unity in community to tackle crime. The family of Steve Bernard remembers their loved one. And ICAR wants to know why the government of St. Lucia is taking so long to decriminalize marijuana.
We've heard talk that Minister Guy Joseph is one of the holdouts in the cabinet trying to block this effort. We also heard that Sarah Flood-Bobren is another one that is holding back on the issue.
All this and more coming up in tonight's broadcast.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good evening. It is Friday the 19th of July 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News. We run Flow Channel 117, also being simulcast on Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9 radio. You can also catch us on Facebook Live on Caribbean Hot 7 TV, as well as on our mobile app. Just search for Caribbean Hot FM in the Play Store. I am Rochelle Gonzalez, standing in for lovely Saint Amy Joseph. A plea is being made to communities island-wide to adopt the community spirit of togetherness and family which existed decades ago. This message comes following Thursday morning's homicide of Mondador resident Curtis Christopher. This is the heart-wrenching message that the nephew of Curtis Christopher, the island's latest homicide victim, had to send out to his late uncle.
I love you. I miss you. I'm glad a good man.
Kervan Christopher, with his mother in tow, is one of the many victims of a senseless crime which has been plaguing the island, as he and the rest of his family must now continue with life without their loved one. Joining the family in mourning was Stanley Felix, the St. Lucia Labour Party hopeful, who vied for the position as MP for Castries Central. Felix said now more than ever is the time for communities to go back to the time when there was unity in community.
My take on curbing criminal activity is to engender and to create an environment where there's more community activism. I grew up at a time where community development was on the forefront of everything. I think communities have to come together, organize themselves to bring some type of harmony within the community. And if we could do it community by community, that can have a positive impact on crime.
Felix empathized with the family and friends of the 34-year-old as he lamented the senseless crime.
As you can see, everybody around is very saddened by Curtis's death. Curtis was a lamb. You couldn't meet a person that was more calm than Curtis. He woke up this morning in preparation to go to work. He went to buy his breakfast, and then he just never came back home. Some barbaric person or persons decided that they had to take his life, and they took his life.
Felix had one message to the nation's youth who engage in the life of crime. He asked them to stop, think, listen, focus, and pray. A well-loved resident of Talbot Babonneau was remembered for his dedication of service to friends and neighbors. The charred body of Steve Bernard, affectionately known as Biko, was discovered on Thursday the 18th of July by his sister 2 days after the fire which engulfed his home. More from Solange Alfred.
A tearful recollection was given by proprietor of Saline's Place in Talvin Babonneau, Alexandra John, better known as Saline, who spoke of the individual Steve Bernard, known warmly as Biko. Bernard's charred body was discovered at his residence on Thursday, 18th July, a full 2 days after fire ravaged his dwelling. John says Bernard was a well-loved resident whose helpful nature will not go unnoticed.
Oh, Biko, Steve Biko, we call him Biko. Steve, I know Biko as a little boy. Growing up with my children. Raised with everything. I don't know what to say about Biko again. Biko was doing everything for me and my home, cleaning. I don't see nobody around that can clean more than Biko. Making a bed, do anything Biko can make it. Biko was everybody around miss Biko. Biko had to clean for me, for Eugenia, for Ian, for Greta, everybody around. Biko cleaning. When you see today is Friday, Biko have come by the shop 4 o'clock in the morning and clean everywhere, pick up everything. I really, really miss Biko. And I've never thought Biko would die like that. Never, never.
John says upon hearing that Bernard's residence had caught fire, she searched for the man but could not find him. 2 days after the fire had been extinguished, she says family members of the deceased discovered flies swarming in the charred residence and feared the worst.
Somebody called me and they tell me Biko house is on fire. I say Biko house on fire. I say yes. I say so. I say if Biko house on fire, I remember the last time Biko house had burned already. So I say Biko house on fire. I went up there. I walked everywhere around. I didn't see. I say maybe Biko they take the Biko down to the man house down there. It's yesterday, only yesterday when the sister come and my cousin go up there. They say this is flies and thing, and then the body was there.
John speculates as to what may have attributed to the fire.
Biko have a wooden section, and the thing, everything is in one. Biko sleeping there, Biko cooking there. So maybe if you add a pan or something on the fire and just burn up the house. We miss Biko. Every one of us, little children, big children, people, everybody will miss Biko. Okay, if to this morning there, as I wake up, if Biko was there, everywhere scrub and clean already. I miss Biko.
It was initially reported by the Fire Service Department the 16 by 20 foot structure was unoccupied at the time of the fire. Attempts to gain additional information from the Fire Service Department regarding the procedure and handling of this situation came up empty-handed. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Aaron Alexander of the Cannabis Movement of St. Lucia says that cannabis cultivation can help reinvigorate the island's aging agricultural sector. LaVey Spooner tells us more in this report.
Member of the Cannabis Movement of St. Lucia and the president of the Ayanola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, Aaron Alexander, maintains that the media as the fourth estate of democracy needs to do more to promote the agenda of marijuana decriminalization.
Media could really go out there and hunt down those politicians, especially those we know that are holding back on the issue. Especially we've heard talk that Minister Guy Joseph is one of the holdouts in the cabinet trying to block this effort. We also heard that Sarah Flood Bobre is another one that is holding back on the issue. So we want these politicians to be targeted. For our part as the cannabis movement, we will go into their constituency and ensure that the people that support this move for the legalization of cannabis, to ensure that these people are mobilized and sensitized to bring pressure to bear on these ministers.
Alexander says that a book entitled Cannabis and Sustainable Development will be making its rounds through the island's government. This will be done to ensure that they understand all what they stand to gain from decriminalization.
Made a decision as a cannabis movement that we will present a copy to the Speaker of the House, we'll present a copy also to the Governor General, to the Minister also responsible for sustainable development, to the Prime Minister also. We will make a copy of this book available to them because they need to read and educate themselves about this. This is something that has the potential to create massive employment for our people. It has the potential to make agriculture sexy again, so people could get back into the agricultural fields. The average age of farmers right now is 50 years old. Our young people are staying away from agriculture. We need to get things going to get them back in the fields, to plant the fields and to grow different crops. Not only cannabis, because once you are growing cannabis, there must be a rotation process where you have to take some time to grow vegetables, grow different things, a crop rotation.
Alexander says that the longer the island's government drags its feet on decriminalization, the more the island stands to lose in the long run. For Hot 7 News, I am LaVey Spooner reporting.
A marijuana decriminalization activist spoke to the news team about the island's progress when it comes to the government's stance on the use and sale of the herb. He says that it is high time St. Lucia follows the leadership of her regional counterparts, or we will be left in the dust. Here once again is LaVey Spooner.
Reports coming out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines indicate that the first ever licenses to cultivate commercial medical cannabis has been released on the island. St. Lucia's marijuana decriminalization activists have come to the fore to applaud the actions taken by their regional counterparts and to ask the island's government to follow suit. Aaron Alexander, who is a member of the Cannabis Movement of St. Lucia and the president of the Ayanola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, says that it is high time the governments of the region make provisions for sacramental use of marijuana and decriminalize the herb.
Every time we hear these developments happening within the other sister territories, we cringe because we're wondering what is taking our government so long. What is holding them back? Because the other Caribbean countries are moving full steam ahead. My only concern is that most of them are not actually addressing the issue of sacramental marijuana when it comes to the Rastafari rights and so on. One or two of them, I believe, Antigua is one that has actually addressed that issue, but most of them are just preoccupied with medicinal marijuana. And we're saying that as a Rastafari community, it is our human rights have been violated. The fact that it is still prohibited for us to use cannabis.
Alexander continued by detailing the progress St. Lucia has made towards decriminalization.
The government has appointed Minister Bradley Felix as the point man on the cannabis issue. And our most recent communication with him is that there will be a cabinet meeting this coming Monday. They will be tabling that issue, and there will be some discussion on that issue. So we're hoping that some traction and some kind of movement will be happening on this. For our part as the cannabis movement, up to last night we held a meeting and we are moving full steam ahead. We're not waiting for politicians. We're doing what we have to do because we know that this is inevitable. This is going to happen, whether it be this administration that do it or another administration that comes in, but this is going to happen.
Alexander went on to state that the Herbal Cooperative will be formed to ensure that Rastafarians remain at the forefront of the cannabis decriminalization movement.
We are working full steam ahead with this to ensure that we secure ourselves because, well, as we've stated in time and time again, the Rastafari community has been the one who's been brutalized and killed and so on in the name of cannabis through the prohibition. So we must be at the forefront and we must have a seat at the table when it comes to any kind of reasoning or any kind of negotiations that will go through on this issue so we can secure our benefits as well.
Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights seems to agree with the sentiments brought forth by Alexander. The article states, and I quote, "Everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom, either alone or in a community with others and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance." End quote. Subsection 3 of the article does, however, state that, I quote, "Freedom to manifest one's religion or beliefs may be subject only to such limitations as are prescribed by law and are necessary to protect public safety, order, health or morals, or the fundamental rights and freedoms of others." End quote. The government of islands such as St. Vincent and the Grenadines have gone the inclusive route. Their Minister of Agriculture and Industry, Sabato Caesar, recently stated that the island's Rastafarian community was a center pillar of strength in guiding the interaction over the period of consultation. For Hot 7 News, I am Love Spooner reporting.
You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. When we come back, the people have their say on cannabis decriminalization.